the two-time Open at Austin. They call him the Finnish Cowboy. Niklas joins Tour Life once again. What up, brother? Congratulations, man.
What up? I made it somehow. I don't know how to use my phone, it looks like. But
no, you're good.
I made it.
You're good. You're good. Okay, so who came up with this nickname? Is this a self? Did you come up with it yourself, or did someone else come up with it? Because it's one of the best nicknames I've heard in disc golf.
I think it was someone else for sure. I think when I was doing like signing after my win last year at the course, people were like calling me like Finnish Cowboy all the time. And then when I won again, people were doing like, you need to live up to your name. You're a Finnish Cowboy. And then, yeah, it came up like that somehow.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think I like it.
Yeah.
First I was like, okay, I'm from Finland. I can't be a cowboy. But then I think it's a good nickname for sure.
I'm going to need you to win this next year because you actually look good in a cowboy hat. There's a lot of people on tour that I can't imagine wearing a cowboy hat, and if they put it on, it's just going to look really weird. So you got to keep winning this thing.
I would try.
We can't let someone else put this cowboy hat on. All right, so let's talk about it. What were your thoughts? Like, how were your feelings coming into the tournament, knowing that there was going to be a new course that you were going to have to, a brand new course that you're going to have to figure out and play for 2 rounds?
Yeah, I mean, my season up to this tournament hasn't been really good. I think I have been throwing all right, but my putting has been like really off. I mean, like, I think I made 1 or 2 C2 putts in like the first 2 tournaments. That's pretty bad for me. And then as soon as I heard that we are going to play a wooded course, it sounded good to me. And when I got there, it was like a confidence boost for me because I feel like almost every hole was like, I saw it for the first time and I had a disc in my hand and I threw it perfect. It was like so easy to me somehow. So as I said in the interview after my round, I think if he played like only at the Sprinkle Valley course, I would have even better of a chance to win this tournament. And yeah, I think even like the golf course, it feels like a regular disc golf more than golf to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both really good for my game.
What do you do to get out of that funk? So you're struggling from circle 2. Is there anything that you change up? Are you practicing differently? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think it's all about confidence, especially with putting. I think I just told myself to like take my time and take my 30 seconds on every putt and really feel good about myself before putting. And I think it was round 3 when I remembered something about my putt. And it's crazy how it works. Like when you forget one thing about your putting, it's like, what am I doing? And I feel like as soon as I remembered that, I only had like one thing in my mind when I'm putting. It was like to follow through better. And I think after that, like my throwing was so good until that point. So I knew that I was going to have a good chance when I'm putting good.
We're speaking of putting, so I have to bring it up. I can't remember exactly what hole it was because they kind of changed some holes here and there. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was 18, 17, 16, 15, maybe 14. Was it 14?
Yeah, I know.
So last year you kind of doinked one from super close. Mm-hmm. And then this year you kind of had a very similar putt. Did that come into your head again of like, how talk us through that? Walking up to that putt, are you like, oh, this is exactly where I kind of was or this is the same distance I was last year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the upshot was blind, so I knew that I went like past the basket, and I thought that I was going to be like 30 feet or something like that. But then I went there and it was like exactly same distance, same direction and everything as last year. And then, I mean, I have been putting pretty good from like C1, so I was not too worried. But I just told myself to take my 30 seconds if I really don't feel good. And yeah. It would have been very sad to miss the same putt twice in a row.
Get that thought out of your idea.
Yeah.
All right, Yuli, I have a question for you. Does anyone throw an overstable flex putter better than this man right here?
No. No.
I mean, that
It's
shot,
not.
when did you feel like that shot was like dialed in for you? Is that a shot that you've always had, or is that something that you've worked on over the years?
I don't think so. I have been like a high shot flip guy usually, but then I feel like as soon as I came to US, it's more windy. In almost every tournament, we have at least some wind for some rounds, and then I realized that throwing like flex lines and like overstable discs, they are like way better in the wind. You can like predict what's gonna happen and stuff like that. And I think as soon as I figure out something, I'm usually pretty good at doing that, and I feel like you end up like 250 to 300 feet of the basket like pretty often, and then I have been just doing the same thing after that. So it's come like through practice for sure.
Yeah, the hyzer flip game, me and you have talked about it a little bit. It's kind of almost dead because just that flex overstable is such a more consistent shot, more reliable, especially like you said in the wind. Talk me through a little bit about the final round because Kyle Klein, who some might say might be the best player that people kind of forget about. He's got a 5-shot lead on you. So going into this final round, like what's kind of going through your head? Did you think you needed to shoot 12 under? Like, was that the number in your head that you had to go out and shoot, or what were you thinking?
First off, yeah, Kyle is like, he's low-key so good. I think
Very.
I mean, he has won a major, he has won, I think, multiple Elite Series, but people forget about him for sure. I feel like my game plan was like, of course, every round you want to start good, but when you're like 5 back, you need to start off very hot, and I feel like I was able to do that. I was also like, of course, I started 5 out of first 5, but then I was like parking holes and making good putts in front of him, so he could see like I'm playing very good and I'm feeling very confident. And yeah, I think I'm usually not very good on my free time and like playing practice rounds, and I'm usually at my best in tournaments, and I'm at my very best on the final rounds usually. And I don't think I have had a good chance of showcasing that in US yet. So yeah, I think that's what I have been doing in Finland and in Europe a lot, but I don't think in US too much.
Yeah, I think Kyle Klein is definitely one of those players, but I think you also have been known for people kind of just forgetting, like, wait, this guy's top 10, maybe a top 5 player. I mean, you got second at Champions Cup last year, and I don't think anyone remembers that because everyone was focused on Andrew Presnell, right? Like Presnell, crazy win, and it's like, wait a second, Niklas was right there at second. So I think winning back-to-back hopefully will definitely kind of boost you and hopefully keep you in the thoughts and minds of a lot of people when it comes to one of the top players on tour. One question I did have is, you went second in the playoff. Jeff Spring flips the coin. You call it correctly. You get to make the call. What's the thought process there? Because I feel like, Yuli, would you go first there and apply pressure if that was you? Or
No,
would you play second?
I would go, just because of the hole, I would go second because you got a pretty good opportunity of the other player maybe going out of bounds, and that could change your shot selection.
Okay. Was what you were thinking, Niklas?
Yeah, it was two things. I think the first one was like the hole was like that in my mind, that I was pretty good at throwing like my PD like pretty far down the fairway. But even if like Kai went OB, I could have like thrown a putter and stayed in bounds and played for par. And then other thing is that I think every time I have went second in playoff, I have won, and only first time when I lost the playoff was when I went first. So
okay, so little
kind of a personal thing as well. Yeah,
little voodoo magic there, a little superstition. Yuli, I was hoping that Jomez would have done like the follow flight on both his drives.
Oh my gosh, right?
Because I don't know how far off they were from one another. They look like identical shots.
Yeah, they were perfect. I mean, missed the height of the trees by just 2 feet, missed the one tree coming in by like a foot, skipping in front of it. I think the second one did go a little farther though.
Yeah,
made it up there a little bit more. Yeah.
I got a question though. So I don't know if you watch the Jomez coverage, but we do the little like we sprinkle in like our predictions and like how it's going to play off before the round starts. And they asked me like what you would have to do to win the tournament. And I was like, he would just have to like play Niklas golf, which I think is like, you're one of the only players that plays like this to where it looks like you're playing perfect. It looks like you're just like, you watch other players play like even a Ricky or even a Gannon, and you see them like miss a couple shots here, but they're still getting birdies. And it seems like you have like this perfection about your game that a lot of people don't have, to where it's easy on the eyes, but it's not overwhelming to the viewer. Mm-hmm. Like you're not doing anything, you're doing it too good, if that makes any sense.
Makes it look easy.
You make it look so easy, but in a way with like a little flair, it's almost like a class. Like it's like you're doing it, it's easy, but it has like this little mwah on top of it. And like we said, you get the first 5 and still Kyle has the lead. It kind of goes unassuming that you got the first 5, and then all of a sudden you're in the mix and you guys have the battle. But even through the battle, it looks like you have this little like push putt that you do and your flex lines, and it's always the correct shot, and it's rarely ever offline. And you said you showcase this more in Europe final round, like you're the guy, and you haven't been able to have the opportunity to do it here as much. But what does that come from? Like, where did you learn that from, or have you always just kind of had that?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be like or I still am, I think, like a Paul McBeth fan, and I used to like watch all of his videos and Jomez coverage and all like that. And he used to be like very under control, like stay in the fairway and make your putts type of guy. And it's just like my throwing style is also like I don't throw very far, so I can't really go for like eagles and stuff that often. And it's usually we had this like a DGPT media day, and they asked like, describe your game with one word, and I said boring, because I feel like I'm playing pretty boring golf.
See, that's what it's if somebody else were to do it like you, it'd be boring. Mm-hmm. But when you do it, it's not boring. Am I right, Brody? Like
I think a lot of that has to do with just the way you throw, like the style of throw you have is a very fascinating style. Because it looks like you almost are about to do the one thing that I always tell, like an ultimate frisbee. I don't know why, but an ultimate frisbee, everyone thinks they have to like curl the frisbee into their elbow, and it looks like you're about to do that, and you're like, oh my god, and then you just throw this perfect throw. And it's a very unique throw. There's no one else that really throws like you.
But it's appeasing.
It's very satisfying. It's very satisfying. It's very satisfying.
What is Germ coined it? Rocking the baby to sleep.
That's a good one. It's like
perfect.
I think it's the tempo is what it is.
Oh, it's like flawless. Yeah, it'd be like watching Freddie Couples play or something.
Yeah,
like it's just very, like, whoa, this is really
very
nice.
Clean. Yeah.
What about
also like, because I play mostly in the woods back home, so the only way you're gonna like birdie the holes are if you hit the gaps. It's not like if you throw far. So, and I'm usually taking my game plan like, I don't really want to like go for too much if I don't really need to. I'm just trying to like play for the best score, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's boring, but it works sometimes at least.
It's not boring. Quit saying that. What about I got one more, and then I'll let you go, Brody. But what's the confidence level like for somebody like you? Because when you're on the course, it looks like you're very stoic. There's not a lot of emotion at all.
You're also a young cat.
Yeah, very
I don't think
young.
a lot of people know how young you are.
Which we're watching Kyle Klein play, and every putt he misses and everything, he's just like losing his mind, it seems. But that's his style, you know what I mean? To where you watch even Gannon or Ricky or Paul, they show the emotion when they make a mistake. But you are kind of like calm and cool the whole time, kind of like Terminator out there. Where's the confidence though up here? Do you think when you're on the course with the Gannons and the Rickies and Kyle Klein and are you like, man, I'm better than these guys. If I play my game, they're done.
Yeah, I really think so. I've always said that you need to like know that yourself before like everybody else knows that you're the best if you wanna be. And I feel like after like playing in the United States for like 3 years now, I have finally seen that I can play with the best, even win when playing against the best. And I think, as I said, I'm pretty good at playing under the pressure usually. So it also helps. And yeah, I don't even remember what is the question, but that's how I think on the course usually.
Yes, I've seen that transition from you, from playing with you in practice rounds and just seeing you on the course when you first were kind of starting. It kind of seemed like, I don't know if starstruck was the right word, but you were definitely like thinking about other people. And now it's like, it seems like you're more focused just on your game. And you're like, no, I can beat anyone out here. Has that transition just by being around these people and playing with them and seeing the results?
Yeah, I think so. It's also like because everything is not new to me anymore in the United States, and I have been here for longer times. It almost feels like when I go to Finland and I play in like Finnish tournaments, everybody is like new to me, like new people and stuff. So it almost feels like
It's opposite now.
I'm at home, yeah, in the United States. It's also like mistakes, they drive me crazy. But I feel like I do my best to like keep them inside me and don't show the emotion too much. But firstly, because I don't want to be like disrespectful to other players, but also like if I'm being too happy about my good shots and like too mad about my bad ones, it's gonna like I'm going like this all the time, if you know what I mean. So trying to stay calm.
Why don't you wear a hat?
Because
Yeah,
I have a small head.
What happens if it's sunny? Yeah, what are you doing when it's sunny out there?
I usually get a headache.
From squinting the whole time?
Yeah, maybe I need to use the cowboy hat from now on.
That would be a classic. That'd be sick.
All right, so you've been over in the States for 3 years now. Talk to me about the food. What are some of your favorite spots to grab some grub?
I think Finns love the Chipotle. That's like maybe my like number one. I think because it's like you can at least trying to make it healthy for you, or like good for you, without taking like sour cream and everything like that. And then I think if I like can choose one place after I win, I could go to like Five Guys.
Ooh, okay.
That's like my favorite burger place. We don't have it in Finland. I think we only have like a couple in Europe, so it's like a rare place. Also like maybe two of my favorites, I would say.
Have you dabbled in any like the sweets, anything like that, cookie places or ice cream shops or Cinnabon, any of those places?
What's the name of the ice cream place? Baskin Robbins?
Baskin Robbins.
That's my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite.
A lot of flavors at Baskin Robbins.
And also, I like candies. I think that Finnish candies are the best, though. There is some good ones in the US as well. I can't remember what's the brand, but it's like the gummy clusters.
Nerds gummy clusters. Yeah, those are very addicting. Those are very addicting. Yes. I know from personal experience. Talk to me a little bit too. Like, what is it like? You know, you finish. You kind of talked about the crowd, right? In your interview after you won, you were mentioning how like people were cheering you on as you're walking to the tee for the playoff. You really felt like the crowd was behind you, rooting for you. Talk to me a little bit too about having, some of your mates there too. As soon as you win, having all those guys. I'm assuming you guys travel together, maybe Airbnb or hotel together. What's that kind of like, creating, a bunch of the European players, Finnish players coming over here? What's that been like?
Yeah, for sure. First about the crowd, it was like, I almost felt like I was playing in Finland the last week, and it was crazy how like people were being on my side all the time and stuff like that. I didn't feel nervous on the final round too much, but then when I heard like people yelling my name before the playoff and I was walking back to the tee pad, I got really nervous because I saw that so many people were like rooting for me. And of course, it's like it's not easy to come here and play. Like you need to be away from home. Like for example, I think Ryan and those guys, they're going to be on the road for like 7, 8, 9 weeks in a row. It's really tough. And I know all of those guys, they can win as well. They can throw the disc just as good as I can, even better some of the guys. I just think that I'm the best at like playing the game. I don't really think I'm like too
Scoring.
good at like
You're the best scoring, yeah.
Yeah. For example, I'm traveling with Rasmus at the moment, and he throws like 700 feet.
So far.
It's crazy. But yeah, it's not easy to come here. I think that's like the biggest thing, and I think that's why we only have like I think 5 MPO players from Finland at the moment.
It's tough. Did I hear that you have a girlfriend? Did you mention a girlfriend in the interview, or am I just making that up?
Yeah, it's going to be 6 years in like 2 weeks now.
And is she still in Finland? Where is she at?
She has to work back home, so
okay.
I think she's going to come here soon. Maybe this year or next year, hopefully.
Is she going to European Open or Worlds?
Yeah, I think she's going to like multiple European events, but US it's so far.
How do you play in front of the girlfriend here? Is that a factor, knowing that she's watching, or is that not a big deal?
No, not usually. No.
Okay, no big factor. Okay, fair enough. Yuli, you got anything else for Niklas?
No, I don't think I do.
Well, do you have anything going on? Any disc drop in, anything like that you want to promote right now while you're on here?
Not really. I have a new jersey coming out, which I was using on the last round.
It's kind of got like a rocker vibe to it, almost like a Metallica.
Yeah. Bad boy.
Bad boy.
Yeah.
Bad boy.
I actually have a good story about that. I was wearing the same jersey I won in last year at the same tournament in the morning, and then I was looking at my new one, and I was like, "This is going to match way better with the cowboy hat." So that's why I had it.
I love that.
I also have one question for you. If you
can say whatever you want, dude.
What do you think about Sprinkle Valley Hole 18?
Ooh, okay. We did just talk about it a whole bunch. Do you want Yuli's opinion or my opinion first?
Yuli.
I think that if they cleared up the second landing zone a little bit, I think it would be the best finishing hole that we have in disc golf. I think that the concept of hard shot off the tee, harder shot, extremely hard shot with the pressure is brilliant. I think that it was really tough to get to your exact spot because of the crosswind that we had. And so you really had to like push the ceiling on the second shot. And then the ground play wasn't too predictable. And because of that, I think it took a little away from the hole. I think if they cleared a bunch of that stuff out and made it possible for almost wherever you land to have to take on the green, you'd see bigger scores and you'd see a little more golf being played with pitching up to the right spot, big numbers, all that stuff. So I think it has potential to be one of the best holes that we play, if not the best.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Yuli on this one because I didn't see it in person. From watching it, it looked like I wouldn't change anything because that second shot gap looked like it was big enough for people to be able to actually find it. But, after listening to Yuli, he's talking about how there's a little bit flukiness there. So I'm with him on that. Like if there doesn't get that cleaned up a little bit so it's not as fluky. People might think this is crazy. I even think there should be kind of some Mandos because I saw some people going down the right-hand side, clearly missing the gap they were going for and ending up actually being in a good spot, which I absolutely hate. So I could see maybe doing something like that. If you make that gap bigger, maybe make it a Mando. So that way people can't get lucky if they miss it. But I absolutely love it. And I'm hoping you agree too, because I think you're a player as well that actually does a good job of breaking holes down. and playing golf, which disc golf is derived from, and not just throwing it as far as you can and trying to get as far down the fairway as possible. And I've always talked about two things. One, shots need to be controlled left and right and front and back. You can't just try to land it left and right, and it doesn't matter if you're 500 feet away or 350. Yeah. And then you also can't have holes where you can throw it 100 feet left or 100 feet right, but as long as you throw it far enough, you're
and
fine.
And the
height, I love that too. And then the forced carry is like, we needed more forced carries because that's the only thing that makes us clench our butt cheeks.
And then get rid of the rule where you can just go up there after 4 shots. I want to see some 25s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the shot from like the second landing zone is like, you like should have it every time. It's like 200 feet. Of course it's blind, but I feel like for MPO it's a good hole. I would maybe do some cleaning like in the second landing zone. But I really love the idea of like, you really need to like place your drives and not just throw it somewhere and then continue from there. I think for FPO though, I think they would maybe need like a drop zone for like on top of the hill or like by the stairs or something like that, maybe. I don't know. But I think it's a good hole. Like it does some like score separation for sure.
Yeah. And my only take on it, Niklas, was I think my only thing I didn't like about it was I think it differs too much from the rest of the course. Yeah. So we saw people single-handedly like basically blow their chance of winning on that hole. I would much rather see multiple holes throughout the entire course where you can take big numbers, because then I think that levels it out more, versus that hole had so much more emphasis on how you played, where I think every hole should have emphasis on how you play it. And I think that just we'll see a crazy amount of disc golf, because literally from the first shot, you're having to think, you're having to go through the mental on every hole, every shot, versus a lot of disc golf. It's almost like brain dead. Like you're not having to think. You're just like, oh, let me just throw this shot that I've thrown 1,000 times. Let me just do it again.
Yeah. I think also like that was the only hole when I was thinking like, okay, I can lose the whole tournament on this one hole. Mm-hmm. And I think disc golf needs more of that. Like you need to be scared on the tee pad, and it doesn't need to be like easy and go happy type of a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you have a bunch of hard holes, no one's going to play all those holes perfectly throughout the entire weekend. Yeah. So if you play one bad hole, you're not dead, like you're not out of it, because you know everyone's going to struggle at some point. If you have if you have 10 holes like that, and the other 10 or the other 8 are still pretty tough, having one bad hole doesn't mean you're completely out of it. You could still go out there and shred.
Mm-hmm. I also think it by seeing the people who complain about the hole being terrible in the MPO, it shows me that you're not mentally strong for certain situations. Like Niklas already said, no, I want to get on the lead card because that's where I feel the most confident and the most comfortable. That means that he feels comfortable in stressful situations, which means when you get to a shot like that on hole 18, you now have a skill that other people don't. And I believe I have that skill as well. I believe like if the hole's as hard as it can possibly be, I'm a good golfer. I'm in control of what I can control better than most people, and I can dissect my way down the course and actually play golf. And we can't teach that skill to the next generation unless we have it. Mm-hmm. And when you see these kids come up who haven't had that, and I mean, we have 2 holes a year where you have to play it, which is 16 at European Open and 17 at USDGC. Yep. It's not something that they can even experience. So,
Niklas, if you hear anyone complain about the shot being blind, because you did mention that, just ask them, say, oh, I wasn't aware that the basket moves before your round. Hit them with that.
Every time you can go long and just go to the drop zone.
Yeah, the mistake there is throw long, right?
It's one of the first greens that we played to where like the mistake is long. Like make sure you miss long. Yeah. Otherwise, if you want to go pin seeking, you can do that too.
Yeah. Hey, trust me, a tap in birdie on that hole is a lot better than a 30-foot birdie putt looking at the OB.
Yeah,
100%.
But it's a lot riskier. It's a lot riskier.
If you're off the fairway, you can always lay up and have like the 200 feet uphill, and every player should have that.
What'd you get on those holes both days?
I think first round I bogeyed. I was putting for birdie, and then I missed and went OB, and then second round I birdied. I think I was like 310 feet back, and I went for it.
Oh yeah, that was actually a sick shot. That was with that little. What was that disc? That little red disc.
It's a tactic.
Tactic.
Like it used to be very overstable, and I have thrown for like 2 years now, and
that's crazy how that thing's flippy like
you're
that.
Throwing that thing.
Yeah, if you lose that, you're done, dude. You're
all right,
done.
before you, Yuli's gonna go into your bag before the next tournament. All right, before we let you go, you got any new pet peeves since last time? Anything that grinds your gears?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. Leaning baskets. That's my biggest one.
Wait, were there leaning baskets out there?
There's always leaning baskets. I hate them.
So, yeah, there is always at least one. I feel like it's like so random because if it's like leaning, I almost feel like I'm leaning too. Like I don't know what to do. It's crazy. It drives me nuts. Yeah, that's my biggest one at the moment.
There's there's one hole at one of these local courses. I think it's Greenbelt. It's a uphill hole. So the basket is on this gradient's crazy. It's like a 30% gradient. So it's pretty steep.
Yeah.
The basket's on it. And over time it's just eroded. So you're usually below the basket putting uphill and the thing is leaning at you. So like you almost have to make it on the side of the basket because the chains are leaning over the basket. So if you hit the chains, it like drops, it won't go in. So you got to like kind of curve it in. Oh man, it's hilarious watching people play that hole for the first time because they get so pissed. But hey, maybe that's something that disc golf needs to make putting more challenging is like, let's get some leaning baskets in there.
You need to hit like high right side.
I still want to do, would you play this tournament if every hole, the basket gradually got higher and higher? So the first hole, it's a normal basket. Second hole, it's 1 foot elevated. Third hole, it's 2 foot elevated. So by the time you get to the 18th hole, it's 18 feet elevated. Would you play that tournament? I feel like that'd be a fun tournament.
I would do it only for the fun. Yeah. It would be fun for sure. I would do it. Also,
real quick, I gotta say this. The scuba putt was the putt from the drop zone at Sprinkle Valley 18. That is the perfect time to throw a scuba, ladies and gentlemen. It gives you a chance to make it, and it stays in bounds. That's why you learn the scuba right there.
You need to come there next year to show it.
All right, let's not push it, Niklas. Let's not push it. All right.
Okay. My bad.
Congratulations. The Finnish Cowboy, back-to-back, the Open Allison. What's your next event? Where are people going to be able to see you at?
I'm still thinking about playing. I'm in Jonesboro now. I don't know if I'm going to play or no, but I'm going to be in Nashville for the MCO for sure.
MCO. Love it. Love it. All right. Yep. Well, safe travels, brother. Thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and congratulations.
Congrats, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
The Finnish Cowboy, back to